So, let's just talk about some stats, shall we? Hello and welcome to my channel, The Danish Readaholic. My name is Silke and today I will be doing my April wrap-up. I've already filmed this once, but the sound was awful because there was something wrong with it. I don't know, but hopefully it works this time. Let me do the stats real quick and then we'll talk about the books. It will overall be a short video because I didn't read all that much in April, and also I read an entire series, so I will be talking about that together. So even though it sounds like a lot of books, it is not. So without further ado, let's just do the stats. We won't talk about Aurelium, not yet. I'm giving myself another month, so I will do like an Aurelium wrap-up thing towards the end of May, I think. Maybe, hopefully. So, the stats. In April, I read 6 books, and that was a total page count of 1,886, which is good because my limit is at like 1,500 because I would like my average to be in between 1,500 and 1,800. That is fine. Currently, I only have 1 month that is below 1,500, so I feel like I'm doing good. As for the authors, I have 3 that are new to me and none that I have read before. When it comes to star rating, I have 2 3 stars and 4 4 stars. Then we get to the representation. I have 2 that had no representation whatsoever and 4 that had multiple. When it comes to the author nationality, I have 1 from Denmark, 1 from the UK, and 1 from Australia. Then we get to the genre. I have 1 non-fiction, I have 1 fantasy, and I have 4 graphic novels. Next up, we have the type of book. I have 5 that are part of a series and 1 standalone. For the intended audience, I have 1 middle grade, 4 young adult, and 1 adult. For the format, I have 2 that I listen to as an audio and 4 that I have read physically. As for the sources, I have 2 that are owned and 4 that are gifted. And finally, all 6 books were released prior to 2022. So that was all the stats. Let me talk about the books. And we're obviously, as always, gonna start with the 3 stars and then move towards the 4 stars. There's a lot of 4 stars, but it's all the same series. Let me start off with this because it has not been translated, so there's not a lot of you that can actually use this for anything, so I'm gonna be quick. This is called Liv og Død. It is translated, well, that would be translated to Life and Death, and it is by Jørgen Lange Thomsen, who is a medical examiner. Every time I've talked about this book, I kept saying that it was a coroner, and it's not. Apparently there is a difference that I didn't know. I just thought that coroner, I had heard that name before and I thought that that was what this guy did. I think they do similar things, but a medical examiner is just like 1 step further, maybe? I am not sure. But there is a difference, and it is following a medical examiner. And basically he talks about a lot of different cases and the history of medical examination and jobs that he had been on and how his life is functioning with this line of work. And it is actually very interesting. I really like with my non-fictions, I like to primarily read true crime stuff, and this one was a different angle than what I usually see, or not usually see, but what I usually pick up, because normally I do like lawyers or police officers or criminal investigators, all that kind of stuff, but I've never actually read anything from this perspective before, and I felt like that was very interesting. I had picked this book this month, or last month, because I, in Aurelium, as you might have seen, had to read a non-fiction, and because I was already feeling a slump coming on, I decided to go for this one because it's the shortest one I own, and it is very short. And I listened to it as an audiobook and it was actually really nice. Even though it was very kind of gory things and you get a lot of details in this, it was nice to listen to it instead of reading it, and I feel like that made the experience better. However, there is actually some really nice illustrations in this, and I find that a little bit atypical for a non-fiction like this, but oh well. I'll have to do a proper flip through eventually and look at all the illustrations and stuff. But there were some great stories in this, some terrifying ones, and the fact that all of it is real is insane to me. Next up, I read Ice Wolves. Once again, this was another book that I had picked up because of Aurelium. I talked about this when I picked it up. Like, when I put it on my TBR, I said that I've had it for so long and my expectation has just gone downhill. And I think that that was good because I remember when I got this, I was like, oh my god, it sounds so cool and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't feel like that anymore, and I feel like that is a good thing, and why it also got 3 stars and not less than that, because I think my low expectations were met, and that's it. So in this we follow Andreas. No, Anders. Names. I'm reading it and it didn't say it right. Anders and Reina, who are twins, and they are orphans as well. They're also thieves, and they are almost caught thieving when Reina comes up with this brilliant idea that they were not stealing, they were just trying to get by so they can go on the stage and be tested to see if there's an ice, or if they are ice wolves, which is like the guards for this city that they live in. So it's a privilege to be an ice wolf, and if you don't really have any heritage or your family isn't filled with wolves, then the odds are low. So they go on stage, they get this staff that they need to hold in order to like expose their true form, and then Reina turns into a scorched dragon, which is unheard of, and she flees the scene. What then happens is that Anders touches the staff and he immediately turns into a wolf. And then we have this whole situation with them being twins but being different species, and how that can happen. We still don't know. The main part of this book is basically trying to find Reina because, as I said, she flees. And Anders is then introduced into this kind of school where he has to learn how to become a wolf, but he is very focused on finding Reina, so that is his main priority, and that is what the majority of this book is about. I am interested in where they go, but not enough to continue with the series because I don't really care much for the characters. I don't like Anders. I don't like Reina. There is a side character. I don't remember her name. I really, really don't. Oh, Lisbeth. Cool. I just opened the book and it was there. Her name is Lisbeth. I like her a lot, but not enough for me to continue with this entire series when there's only that one character that I enjoy reading about. So I think I'm gonna say that that was it for Ice Wolves. It's not a bad book, let me say that. It's not a bad book. I just feel like I have so many other books that I would rather continue with than this one. So I'm gonna say thank you, but no thanks. All right, already at the last book. Okay, so I got this from my parents. We went on like a 1-day trip to Germany because I needed a fridge for my new apartment. So we went to Germany to do that. And then we just had a little stroll through the city and we found some bookstores, and obviously I had to go in because I'm me. And then we went in and I saw that they had Heartstopper. They had all 4 books. And I was like, ooh, I've heard really good things about that series. I really want to read it eventually. And then my dad just looks at me. He's like, oh, they look nice. Do you want them? And I was like, yes. And he was like, okay, get them. I was like, for real? So yeah, they gifted me the books. I am beyond happy about it. And I read all 4 of them on the 30th because I needed my page count to go above the 1500 limit, as I've talked about. I just needed my page count to be something other than what it was. It was not a lot. So I binged this series and it was absolutely adorable. I kept thinking, like, because I knew everyone was like, oh my god, it's so adorable and you're gonna love them and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. But I tend to not really like this kind of fluffy romance thing, and it is fluffy romance. I'm not, like, it is. And I was just a little bit hesitant about it, but then when I read it, I was like, oh my god, the feels, oh my god, I just love them. They're freaking adorable. So yeah, I'm on board with that. In case you don't know, in this we follow Charlie and Nick. Charlie has unfortunately been outed at his school as being gay, which he is. He's also a little bit of a loner and kind of goes on his day like on his own. And then we have Nick, who is I think he's the captain of the rugby team, if I remember correctly. And they end up having to do like a project together, and then they start talking and form a really strong friendship. And then Charlie slowly realizes that he might be a little bit in love with Nick, and Nick is starting to realize that he might not be as straight as he thought he was. So there's a lot of character development and a lot of self-exploration in this that I really enjoy, and like the further we go into the series, you will see a lot more of it, and with a lot of deeper topics than this one in the first one. It will go way deeper, way tougher than that, and will be a little bit less fluffy romance towards the fourth one, in my opinion. But it is great. I love it. I will say, oh, that sounded like I was gonna say something bad. I don't really have anything bad to say. But my favorite character is Charlie's sister, and I don't remember her name, but she is top tier character for me, and I can't. She's amazing, not gonna lie. I want to be her. I want to be that kind of sister to my brother, and I'm gonna strive to be that now. Like, I want to be her. So, despite a reading slump, and despite me stressing over every single small thing happening in my life, I managed to read a good amount of books in April, and I'm really happy about it. So yay, let's keep it going. I've already gotten a few books down this month, and I'm hopeful that it's gonna continue that way. I do have a little bit of stress this week, so and also I need all of you to have your fingers crossed for me tomorrow, because I am going to this interview, conversation, examination thing to become a teacher. And I am stressed about it because I am scared and I don't know what to prepare for. But I've heard that it's supposedly a very chill conversation where they ask you questions about why you want to do this. And you also have some text that you have to read and talk about and stuff. So I should be fine, but I am terrified. So I need all of you to have your fingers crossed for me, and wish me luck. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what books you read in April. How was your reading month? If you just want to let me know that you're here but don't know what to comment, you can always leave a green heart. If you like this video, please hit the like icon, and if you want to see more of my bookish content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. And until I see you next time, bye!